So we get a bonus video for today. Usually on Mondays, I just do the power rankings and then collect some news items for Tuesday's next videos. But today, we've had some pretty big news stories drop this morning, and we need to catch up on a few news items from the weekend. So let's dive right into it. First things first, the Brantford Bulldogs, they have announced that they're moving up the start time for Wednesday night's game against the Barrie Colts. It was scheduled for a 7 p.m. start, but it will now begin at 6 p.m. And of course, that's due to the Toronto Blue Jays being in the World Series. That'll be game 5 in Los Angeles. So if you are going to the game in Brantford, take note of that. It's an hour earlier. And we will also be covering the game for the Barrie Colts, the road radio broadcast. It'll be streamed here on the channel. So if you're a Barrie Colts fan and you want to tune in with the road broadcast with Gene and I, click subscribe and you'll be notified when the live stream gets underway. So if it's a 6 o'clock puck drop, it'll be a 5:45 start for the live stream, similar to what we had on Friday night up in Sudbury. And yeah, can't wait for that one. Of course, the Brantford Bulldogs, the last team to not suffer a regulation loss. So that's going to be Wednesday night down at the TD Civic Center. Now, some other news. The Philadelphia Flyers have announced that Jett Luchanko is being sent back to the Guelph Storm. So Luchanko played a handful of games with the Philadelphia Flyers to start the regular season, but they've decided to send him back to junior, which I'm sure Storm fans pretty excited about because the Storm, they've been playing some better hockey. And for this organization, looking towards the future, if they are chosen as the host for the 2027 Memorial Cup, expect Luchanko to maybe be wearing a different sweater come the OHL trade deadline to get some assets to really improve for next season. Or maybe this is a team that could surprise some in the very competitive Western Conference. Now, last season, Luchanko was the youngest player to suit up for the Philadelphia Flyers. He was selected 13th overall in the 2024 NHL entry draft. I remember he was the biggest surprise. He had an amazing combine right before the draft, and the Flyers, surprising many, taking him 13th overall. Still looking for his first point this season. So the Flyers wanting to take their time with him, and I think he's going to do great with the Storm organization. And it's also going to be a big boost for a player such as Jaco Wysick, who's in his rookie season with the Guelph Storm, to be able to really feed off of what Luchanko can provide with his National Hockey League experience. So the Storm getting a boost here, and we'll see what happens next with the Storm organization, as they've been a team that's been climbing steadily in my power rankings. If you haven't checked out the power rankings video yet, be sure to check it out after this one. The next news item that was announced today is that Team Canada will be hosting 2 pre-tournament games before the World Juniors. They're going to be playing in Kitchener at the Memorial Auditorium and in London at Canada Life Place. They're also hosting their training camp in Niagara Falls at the Gale Center. So an Ontario flair, and of course, remember, Mark and Dale Hunter involved with Team Canada for this year. So they're going to have a say as to who makes the team as they look to go for gold. So the 2 games, the first one will be held in Kitchener on December 17th against Team Sweden, and then on December 20th in London. So 2 tune-up games. I'm sure they're going to be well attended by junior hockey fans and just fans of Team Canada with the World Juniors. So that was announced today, and of course, the tournament being held in Minnesota this year, which I'm sure there's going to be a lot of Canadian fans crossing the border to take part in that tournament, much like it was the last time the state of Minnesota hosted the national event. On Friday, there was also a trade announced between the Soo Greyhounds and the Oshawa Generals. At the time, I was on the road to Sudbury, so I wasn't able to make a video, so I'm doing it now. So Charlie Hilton, he's an Oshawa native. He's been traded to the Generals for a 3rd-round pick in 2029 and a conditional 10th rounder in 2029. Now, this is a very unique situation as Charlie Hilton has left the Greyhounds due to personal reasons. Nothing's been specified as to what's going on, but Greyhounds general manager had a great quote. Some transactions go beyond hockey. Charlie's been through a lot in his young life, and we're happy to have him able to get him closer to home so he can spend more time with his family while continuing his OHL career. So a nice move here by the Soo Greyhounds to provide this opportunity for Charlie Hilton to continue playing junior hockey, but he'll be also closer to home. So Hilton, he's a pretty solid player for the Greyhounds. He was picked in the 14th round by the Ottawa 67s in the 2012 OHL entry draft, and he has been making the best of his opportunities. Last year, he was traded from Ottawa to Sault Ste. Marie, and in 59 games with the Greyhounds, 5 goals, 7 assists. So for Charlie Hilton, all the best to him, as again, he's away due to personal reasons, and hopefully we'll see him suit up for his hometown Generals sooner rather than later. Another story we've been following here on the channel are the developments of Lansdowne 2.0 in Ottawa. Next week, City Council is expected to vote on the project. The plan is to build a new arena next to the current TD Arena, as it would serve as its replacement. Now, a concern that's been raised by some is the capacity for hockey games. With a standing room capacity of 6,600, that's a lot less than what TD Arena currently holds. And the PWHL is now raising some concerns. They've spoken out. They spoke out on Friday saying this is a huge step back, and this could be a hindrance for this team going forward. Of course, that's the Ottawa Charge of the PWHL. They've had success. They went to the PWHL championship last year against Minnesota. So the idea is that the 67s and the Charge would continue to call Lansdowne 2.0 their home arena. But with this capacity reduction, the future may be in question here for the PWHL, and we'll see how Ottawa City Council handles this. This arena is expected to cost $419 million. They want to get the shovels in the ground in the new year and have it ready by 2028. But if the Professional Women's Hockey League team doesn't see this as a viable option, what's the solution here? Obviously, this size arena is great for junior hockey, although we've seen in the past the 67s can really have a solid attendance. We've seen it in the past. When you look at the arena right now, TD Place, it has a capacity of 9,800. That is the largest capacity arena in the Ontario Hockey League. The next arena would be Canada Life Place in London with a capacity of 9,100. So dropping from 98 down to 66 is a huge reduction. But when you look at the stats right now for 2024-25, they're averaging 3,885 fans. So that's well below capacity. But for the 67s, we've seen in the past that they've been able to sell out this facility. When we break it down into 10-year periods, going back to 2015, 2016, they're averaging 3,484 fans. So that's still well below. But then when you go back 20 years to 2005, 2006, they have the second highest average attendance in the Ontario Hockey League, 8,207. And they've had years outside of that where capacity is basically a sellout. Think back to when they hosted the Memorial Cup back in 1999. It was almost a sellout every game at when it was called the Civic Center. So yes, this is a quite the drop in capacity. I think they have the junior team in mind, maybe not the PWHL. We also know that the Ottawa Senators are moving to the LeBreton Flats once that arena is built. So maybe Canadian Tire Center could be the future home for the Ottawa Charge, or maybe something else will have to give. But we will find out next week. City Council is expected to vote on the Lansdowne 2.0 project. It's just going to be interesting to see the comments coming from the PWHL. Will it influence Council's decision next week on what to do with this project? As capacity for hockey 6,600 sounds great for the Ottawa 67s, not so much for the Ottawa Charge. So keep an eye on this situation to see where it goes from here. Now on Friday, it was also announced that the Ontario Hockey League has made a mistake. Going back to the game on Sunday, October 19th, between the Flint Firebirds and the Saginaw Spirit, it was a game that was in overtime, and it appeared as though the Saginaw Spirit may have actually won the hockey game in the final second of the overtime period. Alex Kostov put the puck on net, and it crossed the goal line, but it was ruled no goal as the timer showed that it crossed the red line once time had expired. However, the OHL says it's been confirmed that the puck completely crossed the goal line with 0.03 seconds remaining in overtime. The play should have resulted in a goal for the Saginaw Spirit. Now, they're saying that it's determined that the clock synchronization, there's an issue between the new video review system and what they were using at the Dow Event Center. I believe that's where the game was. So there was a little technical glitch and they weren't able to see that the puck, in fact, crossed the goal line. So it ended up going to a shootout, and the Flint Firebirds won the game. So this review shows that the Saginaw Spirit should have been the victors October 19th, but the OHL says that they don't have a system in place. The league's rule book does not include provisions to overturn the result of the game under these circumstances. So the result stays the same. The Flint Firebirds won it in a shootout, but the OHL admitting that, yes, the Saginaw Spirit should have won that game, but because of a technology issue with the new system, the Saginaw Spirit lost out on the extra point that night. But I think it's good on the OHL admitting the mistakes. We've been seeing some adjustment issues in various capacities this season that the Ontario Hockey League has announced changes from technology to jerseys and now these reviews. So good on the OHL admitting that there was a mistake, but obviously fans of the Saginaw Spirit won't be too happy if that 1 point is the difference, say between home ice advantage in the playoffs or making a playoff spot. And it'd be even worse if, say, the Flint Firebirds ended up 1 point ahead of the Saginaw Spirit, and it all came down to this one error. So, like I said, good on the league admitting a mistake, but man, that's got to be hard for the Spirit as an organization. But they'll move on, and the league learning from this error as we go forward. So that's how I see it from the booth. Thank you very much for all your supports. I know quite a few news items here in one video, but let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on any of these news items. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Talk to you soon.